One of my favorite author is Laurent Hunel, because I really like reading. Also, I like watching films. Also, I want to say that I'm really appreciate to be here, because it's a really great experience for me. And it's really a good chance to speak with incredible people as you. Also, we have a really difficult situation with electricity because of war in Ukraine, but students in my country try to study hard, and of course I'm not an exception. So probably that's all of what I would like to say about myself. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Anna. So please, someone from Japan, talk about yourself.
Okay. My name is Masaaki Morita, and I'm in 30-year student, and my major is history of art. So it's a title different from literature, but I'm talking about Japanese poetry. It's a kind of traditional one. So because I was born in Kyoto, which is well known for historical places, and it's also old capital city in Japan. So from my background, I'm gonna tell what is the difference between Japanese traditional poetry and the new one. So I'm looking for listening and acquiring new knowledge from you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Masaki. Okay. Katya, could you tell us something? Yeah.
Yes, good morning or good afternoon to everybody. My name is Katerina Nikolenko, and I'm a PhD student with the Ivan Franko National University of Lviv. It is one of the oldest and most famous universities in Ukraine, and I'm writing my dissertation with the World Literature Department. My dissertation is about the Canadian writer Lucy Maud Montgomery. So if you know the novel Anne of Green Gables, this is the author of that novel. I'm interested in reading, learning foreign languages, and learning more about different countries and cultures of the world. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm very happy to see all of you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so perhaps we can start. Olga, yeah, we can start. Okay. So
yes, yes.
So please let me start. Dear colleagues and students, konnichiwa and привет усім. My name is Susumu Nonaka. I am a professor at Saitama University and Dean of the Faculty of Liberal Arts. As you know, Saitama University is a partner of Poltava National Pedagogical University. And this year, we have two of your students, Olena-san and Inna-san. They have already started to speak good Japanese. And I must tell you that I am very sad and happy to have the third student seminar among the three universities. Poltava and Lviv and Saitama. Poltava, Lviv and Saitama. Why sad? Maybe I don't need to talk, but would like to tell you how happy I am to see you all again or for the first time. You professors, teachers, and students are doing very important things for your country. That is education, study, and research. Your activities at universities are and will be essential ground for the resurrection and new growth of Ukraine. I believe our seminar will give Japanese students a strong motivation for study and make clear the significance of humanities, that is studying language, literature, art, and culture. Because language, literature, art, and culture are the base of our life, the base that encourage and unite us all. So I hope that this year's seminar will be even more significant and fruitful and interesting than the previous ones. I wish success in your presentations and discussions. Thank you for your attention. So now I would like to ask Lydia Vasilyevna from Lviv University to talk about yourself and about this seminar.
Добрий день, шановні колеги. Добрий день, вельмишановний пане професоре Susumu Nonaka-сан, шановна Ольга Миколаївна, дорогі студенти.
Good morning and greetings to all of the participants of our seminar. Good morning, dear Professor Susumu-san. Good morning, dear Professor Nikolenko. Good morning to all of the students and everyone who joined us today.
Студенти Львівського університету з великою вдячністю приєднуються до міжнародного наукового студентського семінару і бачать в цьому для себе надзвичайно великі перспективи і можливості.
The students of Lviv University are joining our International Scientific Student Seminar with great gratitude, and they can see a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that they can learn from this seminar.
Ми розуміємо, що наш семінар зближує нас, наші континенти, наші країни і наші культури.
We can understand that this seminar can bring our countries, our cultures, and our continents closer together.
Але разом з тим ми сьогодні маємо згадати нашого класика Олександра Довженка і його метафору, яка стала дійсністю сьогодні «Україна в огні».
But at the same time, we should mention the words of a great Ukrainian writer, Alexander Dovzhenko, and his metaphor, Ukraine in fire or Ukraine under fire.
В нашій країні триває війна, і ми будемо працювати так, як ми зможемо працювати.
There's still a war that is ongoing in our country, and we are going to work and do our best, to the best of our ability.
У наших студентів немає світла.
Unfortunately, our students right now are having problems with electricity and with the light.
У наших студентів немає зв'язку і немає інтернету.
Often they don't have any mobile connection, they don't have any internet service.
Наші студенти навчаються в укриттях після того, коли звучить сигнал повітряної тривоги.
Our students learn in bomb shelters after the air raid sirens sound.
Тому вибачте нас, будь ласка, якщо в нас буде поганий зв'язок.
So please excuse us if we have any problems with our connection, if sometimes we disconnect.
Якщо ми будемо вимикати наші камери, тому що в нас поганий інтернет.
Please excuse us if we turn off our cameras so that we can get a better connection.
Але ми будемо намагатися зробити все для того, щоб цей семінар відбувся на користь нашим студентам, на користь нашій країні і на користь нашій перемозі.
But we're going to do our best to make this seminar happen for the best of our students, for the best of our country, and for our victory.
Дякую.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lydia Vasilyevna. Of course, the safety is the most important, so please don't hesitate to go if it is needed, urgent. Yeah, okay. And please turn the video off if when your connection is bad. That's okay. Okay. So now I would like to ask Olga Nikolaevna to speak up.
Dear Professor Susumu Nonaka-san, dear Professor Lydia Vasilyevna Matsevka-Bekerska, dear students, I'm very pleased to see you here. In spite of the difficult situation in the world, we can do our joint scientific activities. From all the faculty of philology and journalism and students at Poltava Korolenko National Pedagogical University, I would like to express my respect and gratitude to everyone who is joining us online. Poltava Korolenko National Pedagogical University has always been a reliable partner in terms of education and science. A lot of thanks to Professor Susumu Nonaka-san for the idea and for organizing our scientific seminars. It is a great opportunity to develop our relationship and mutual cooperation. Also, I'd like to say many thanks to Japan and Saitama University for their support of Ukraine and teachers and students at PNPU every day. We appreciate your support in this difficult wartime very much. It is helping us to be strong and brave. I wish all participants useful communication and good impressions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olga. I think some of you participated in last year's seminar, and I'm surprised how fast time flies. 1 year ago, we met and started the last year's seminar, and 1 year has passed. Yeah, of course, which is a very sad and tragic year for you. But I repeat, I am happy to see you again and hold this seminar. Okay, now this seminar is of course for study, but not only that, but also for mutual the friendship among Ukrainian and Japanese students. So we will try to make some time for making friends with. So please talk about yourself, about who you are, what you study, what you are doing now, and what you're interested in now. So please don't hesitate, both Ukrainian and both Japanese students. So who will start?
I can start. Good afternoon. First, I would like to apologize for my appearance. Because of power outrage, I had to look for a place with a more stable connection, and unfortunately, it's not very warm here. My name is Anna Kulik. I'm a third-year student of Poltava V Korolenko National Pedagogical University, and I'm studying to be a philologist. I like reading and drawing. Also, I try to develop my writing skills. From the childhood, I was fond of languages and cultures of other countries, and this is why I didn't think long about my future profession. I'm very happy and honored to be here, and I hope for fruitful cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, so who will be the next? Maybe from Japan? Come on.
Yes. Can I go? Hi, I'm Rinka and from Saitama University. My major is American Studies, but I'm really interested in many countries and also Ukrainian. I know Nalisniki in Ukraine. And my friend, our friend Olena-san had held Nalisniki party, and I was one of the members. And Nalisniki resembled to crepe. I rolled meat firstly, and then we rolled cheese or banana in them. So that means I enjoyed Nalisniki in two ways, as a meal and as a dessert. So I learned how Nalisniki flexible are. Anyway, I'm really curious about your culture and your opinion, and I'm looking forward to hear your presentation. Thank you, Jackie. This was Rinka.
Thank you, Rinka-san. Okay. So we'll make next. Please, Toko, please.
Hi, I'm Toko.
Sorry, we are having technical problem, howling. So let Toko.
Can you hear me? Is that okay? So I'm at same place with Nonaka sensei, so maybe there's some howling in this room, but let me introduce myself. I'm Toko. Feel free to call me Toko. I'm a junior at Saitama University. Now I'm studying sociology in the university. I'm so glad to meet you, and I'm so glad to be here. So I'll make a presentation at December 20th. We'll talk about literature in Japan, and hope you enjoy it. And I also attended Narisaniki party. It was so delicious and wonderful. I learned a word in Ukraine.
Sma.
Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Toko. Okay, so please, Andriana.
Yeah, can you hear me well?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So greetings to all the teachers, greetings to you, Mr. Susumu Nonaka. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be there, to see like other foreign students, all students from Ukraine, from Poltava, because I live in it's Western Ukraine, I live in Lviv. I'm studying in Lviv University. I'm a third-year student. My major is English philology. It means I learned the history of English language, some particular cases of vocabulary, grammar, and so on. And I'm really happy to talk and to hear like other foreign students, especially from some like so far countries that are really like so far, and I really curious about your culture, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Andriana. Okay. So Anastasia?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Nastya. I'm a student at the Poltava National Pedagogical University. I am studying to be a teacher of English and German languages and foreign literature. In general, in life, I like to read books, especially detective stories. I like to dance and take pictures. Last year, I already participated in our conference, so I am very glad to be here again today, to see familiar faces and to see new people. And I am grateful to our professors for the opportunity to be a part of this conference again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next, Maria, can I ask you?
Yes. Hello, my name is Maria, and first of all, I would like to spread all best greetings to each of you. I'm really glad I can be present at such meeting, and I'm the third year student of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, and I'm studying in Ivan Franko National University of Lviv. And my major is English language, and the second one is Spanish. I admire world literature. Also, I wrote some scientific abstracts on this topic, and also I'm the head of the Scientific Union of the Faculty of Foreign Languages, and moreover, the head of the Center of International and Regional Cooperation of the Students' Trade Union of Ivan Franko National University. And I really appreciate this opportunity because I think that that will bring a lot of new and useful information, and I hope that I will make friends with you, and thank you very much for that.
Maria, thank you. I'm always surprised how well Poltava students speak English well. Yeah, okay. So, but we will try to. Masanori, please.
Hello, my name is Masanori Masuda. I live in Tokyo. Now I'm learning Slavic language. My hobby is studying Slavic, but I have been to Siberia 4 years ago, and my dream is recent in Slavic country. For example, Poland, Czech Republic, also Ukraine. Why do I love Slavic country? Because I thought your face is very beautiful, guy and lady. I want to be Slavic people. Do you know Sakhalin? Sakhalin is Russia. I have been to Sakhalin, and I meet one person. This guy is very beautiful face. I thought, why this guy so beautiful? I want to be such a guy. So I long time see this guy. So this guy said to me, how long do you see me? I said, whoever. So today I'm great that meet Ukrainian people. So I hope today's lecture is good lecture. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Masa. Anton, could you please tell about yourself?
Good day, everyone. I'm sorry for turning off my camera. My connection is not stable, but let me start. So my name is Anton. I'm a fourth-year student at Poltava Pedagogical University. I'm glad that everyone is present today. Talking about myself, I like to study, of course, listen to music, hang out with my friends, and have a good time. Also, I want to say that I feel blessed to have an opportunity to participate in this seminar, and I look forward to see what's coming next. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Anton. Okay. So maybe, Ina-san, do you have something to talk about Japanese gender problems?
Yep, of course, I can mention a few very surprising aspects. For example, for us, it's very unusual when we go to the subway or somewhere else, and there are some special trains only for women. So it's kind of super fascinating and very unusual thing for us. So it was like one of the interesting facts from Japanese culture and very specific culture. And what else? And there are also some special hotels only for women, also for some special reasons and peculiarities of the culture. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The thing is, Ina-san made a special lecture about gender problems, and we had a big discussion about this topic. So yeah, that was very interesting. Okay, so maybe someone still want to talk, but time is running. So I hope we should ask Professor Nikolenko to read her lecture she made for today. Okay, so Olga, please start.
Thank you so much. Yes. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yes. The topic of my lecture is how do you overcome fear, based on Me or My Son by Astrid Lindgren. As we said our goodbyes in January 2022 at the previous winter seminars, we did not know that in February we would say goodbye to an entire era. We did not think that the world would face a global challenge, which, in my opinion, is no less terrible than the Second World War. A year ago, we could not even imagine that we would find ourselves inside a horror movie. But unfortunately, this is not a movie. These horrors are absolutely real for us today. The 24th of February 2022 has divided not only the history of Ukraine and not only its territory. This date has divided the whole world. It has changed dramatically and will continue changing even more. We have all changed as well. Our facial expressions have changed. We have also become different inside because we are going through a difficult experience of war. Every day of war changes us. We cannot smile as we used to because the war is playing with us, our families, and our destinies. Every day parts of Ukrainian territories disappear before our eyes. People, schools, entire cities turn into ruins. Everyone has their own experience of war. I have mine. I would like to show you some photos that give an idea of the changes happening in our time. Here is the city of Ohtyrka, Sumy region. I took these photos on the 1st of January 2022. We like to travel somewhere with our family on New Year's Eve. This year we went to Ohtyrka to see the ancient temples. Here is the Holy Protection Cathedral, which was visited by Vasil Gogol, the father of the writer Mykola Gogol. Here is the miraculous icon of the Mother of God, near which Vasil Gogol prayed. Here is a Christmas tree in the church. Ukrainians always do this. But after the 24th of February, the city has changed. Sumy region was one of the first to take the blow of Russian troops who crossed the border of Ukraine and invaded our territories. 80 of buildings in Ohtyrka are now destroyed. And this is the city of Kharkiv, which is located about 100 kilometers away from Poltava. It was here 2 months ago. Before the war, more than 1 million people lived here. Now the streets are almost empty because every day there is shelling from the Russian Federation. But my colleagues, teachers from Kharkiv National University, live here. Some students also stayed. They continue to study online, as do students all over Ukraine. And here is the village of Skovorodinivka, not far from Kharkiv. Here is the Museum of Ukrainian philosopher and writer Grigory Skovoroda. This is how it was before the invasion of the Russian Federation. On the 6th of May 2022, a rocket was sent to the museum, which destroyed the old 18th century house where our writer lived and worked. The house burned to the ground. In fact, it is not subject to restoration. It was a shot into the heart of Ukrainian culture. Representatives of the Russian authorities constantly say that the Ukrainian people does not exist separately, that Ukrainians and Russians are one people, and that there is no such state as Ukraine, nor should there be. They do not recognize the right of Ukrainians to their own language, culture, and state. This is how the Russian authorities justify their war crimes. And now I will show you a teacher from Popasna, Luhansk region. Her name is Victoria Makarenko. Her town was shelled back in 2014, and I have already rescued Victoria and her son once in Poltava. They lived with us for about a year until the town of Popasna returned under Ukrainian control. Victoria and her husband repaired the apartment and lived there until the war came again. After the 24th of February 2022, it became impossible to live in Popasna. Now this town does not exist. The name is there, but the town is not. Russian soldiers take selfies against the background of destroyed buildings, tell how they liberated allegedly Russian territories. We can say that they liberated those territories from people. The teacher, Victoria, her husband and son no longer have and will never have their hometown and home. They barely managed to take some things, a few photos, and escape from the shelling. Now they are living with friends in Western Ukraine. I also want to show you the city of Nikopol, Dnipropetrovsk region. 7 kilometers away from Nikopol, there is Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which was captured by Russian troops. In this photo, which was sent to me by a teacher from Nikopol, Olena Gvozdikova, you can see the destroyed hospital of Nikopol and all 6 units of Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in the background. The city of Nikopol is being shelled every day. Here is Nikopol Lyceum number 7 of Nikopol City Council. Before the war, Olena worked here. Children of Nikopol studied, sang, and danced here. Before the war, there was joy and happiness here. And after the 24th of February, Nikopol Lyceum looks like this. A shell hit here. Fortunately, it did not explode. It was removed and neutralized, but still the school is very damaged by daily shelling. Now it is impossible to study here. Almost all children and their parents left the city. There are only 7 teachers left who are trying to save their school. Not far from Poltava is the city of Kremenchuk, an ancient city on the Dnipro River. On the 27th of June, a Russian missile hit a shopping mall here. Hundreds of people were killed and injured. There are a lot of destroyed houses and ruined lives like this now. More than 18 million Ukrainians have suffered from the war. More than 7 million have gone abroad. The rest have fled to other territories of Ukraine. Since the beginning of the war, about 1,000 Ukrainian children have died. More than 10,000 children have been forcibly taken to Russia by the invaders. This is a very terrible war that is still ongoing. Every day we feel the breath of war. Every day we hear air raid sirens. Every day we see new victims and destruction. Today, Ukraine does not have enough electricity, so it is periodically cut off. There are also problems with water, food, etc. But all those who did not go abroad but live in Ukraine courageously work and help each other. Our position is simple and clear: to save everyone who can be saved and to save everything that can be saved, and also to work and do everything in our place for victory, for the sake of the state of Ukraine. Our men, fathers, brothers, relatives, friends are now on the front lines. Ukrainian women are also fighting. Thanks to Ukrainian defenders, we can live today. The experience of war gave us a new sense of the world and culture. Not only do we now have different faces, we now read books differently, perceive films and paintings differently. The value of everything that was before has changed for us. We began appreciating simple things that we had not even used to notice: light, warmth, calm nights. And in the field of culture, the things that are most valuable to us give us not only pleasure, but spiritual energy and inner strength. We cannot forget for a minute that the war is going on, that hundreds of people are dying at this moment, at this second. Therefore, it is very important not to lose the sense of meaning and normal life during the war. Since we and our children are in a situation of absurdity, it is extremely important not to let death and despair get inside you. It is not about forgetting, about avoiding problems, about pretending that the war does not exist. It is impossible. Those who are living in Ukraine now will never be able to forget what is happening. There is no escape from it. But today we are all looking for new meanings of existence. We want to remain human in inhuman conditions. We want our pupils and students not to forget what humanity is and to preserve what we call Ukraine. Therefore, books now play an exceptional role in our society. At the beginning of the war, I, like most Ukrainians, was depressed and confused. We were shocked by what happened, and it was very hard to get out of this state. I remember that in the first months of the war, I could not even watch movies and listen to music. It caused pain because art reminds us of peace and harmony, which we have unfortunately lost. But then an important thing helped me. I was invited to work at the all-Ukrainian online school to conduct live lessons for children affected by the war. Their parents or teachers were killed. Their schools were destroyed. These children lost their homes and had to live either in shelters or with strangers. And so the all-Ukrainian online school gathered such children and created conditions for them to study even during the war. For 4 months, I went live every week and conducted online lessons for these children. And they were able to watch these lessons on the YouTube channel and chat. Once I asked the children the question, "What do you want most? What is your dream?" A boy from Kharkiv who was watching my lesson from the shelter wrote, "To live." When I began to work with children whose experience of war was much greater than mine, I realized that my personal feelings don't matter. Now we need to help these children not only to learn, but to realize that despite death and destruction, the world has meaning, and that there is still good, support, and humanity in this world. We have now rethought a lot of books in a new way. Reading them from the perspective of war, we can find in them new meanings of our life. So now I want to tell you about one clever modern fairy tale. I want to tell you about the writer from Sweden, Astrid Lindgren. I'm sure you already read some books by Astrid Lindgren. Please put a plus in the chat if you know characters like Lillebro and Carlson on the Roof and Pippi Longstocking and others. I'm sure you know these characters, and today I'm going to introduce you to my favorite book about the boy Mio. But first of all, let's look at where Sweden and its capital Stockholm are located. This is where Astrid Lindgren lived. Sweden is located in Northern Europe on the Scandinavian peninsula. I think you heard the name Scandinavia. Sweden, together with other countries, Denmark and Norway, is part of this historic territory. The ancestors of the Swedes are called Vikings. They were very brave and courageous. This is how they looked like. And they, living near the sea, sailed a lot on their boats to other lands. In the Swedish Viking Museum, I saw reconstructions of their huge boats. Vikings sailed from Scandinavia to Byzantium and further to Arab countries. Thus, the Vikings reached the historical territories of Ukraine, Kievan Rus. Some of the Kievan princes even trace lineage back to the Vikings. Some Vikings served in the Kiev army and then settled in the Ukrainian lands. Vikings and Scandinavians in general called Ukrainian territories Gordariki, which means the land of cities, because there were many cities, castles, and fortresses here. This is what old Stockholm looks like from the Baltic Sea. And this is the western part of the city and the Mälaren Lake. The Swedish Academy, which determines the Nobel Prize winners, is located in Stockholm. Here it is. And this is the city hall where the celebrations in honor of Nobel laureates take place. Here is the royal castle. It was rebuilt in 1697 when Sweden was very powerful. Sweden has a long royal tradition. We have the opportunity to wander the streets of the old city, to feel its unique atmosphere. And now we will see the Swedish parliament from the outside and inside. I was here 3 years ago. And this is a military boat built in 1628, which was reconstructed in the 20th century. And here is the house where Astrid Lindgren lived in her childhood. This house is called Ness. Swedes often name their houses. Ness is situated on the outskirts of a little town called Vimmerby, where the writer was born. She wrote, "We have two things that define our childhood: security and freedom. Unfortunately, our security and freedom are now under threat." I would like to ask you some questions. Of course, if you want to answer them. Have you ever felt fear? What are you afraid of? And how do you fight your fears? Please write in the chat. I can honestly say about myself that I did not used to be afraid of anything before. And knew sometimes I am very afraid, especially in wartime, at night when the siren sounds, when the shelling continues. I am afraid for my family, for my friends, for my students, for our university. I am afraid for our Ukraine, which is being tormented by enemies. But when I am very scared, I help others. I also read or simply remember books, in particular my favorite book, Mio, My Son, by Astrid Lindgren. And the fear goes away. And I know for sure that the light will conquer the darkness. In all fairy tales of the world, it is so. And so it will be in Ukraine. Astrid Lindgren's fairy tale Mio, My Son is a story about overcoming your fear, about how a lonely and resentful boy overcame his fears and became a real hero. He and his friend were able to overcome evil and free children and adults from captivity. These brave heroes will be with us today. With them, we will talk about fear and how to overcome it. So let's meet the main hero of Lindgren's book, Mio, My Son. Here he is, a 9-year-old boy living in Stockholm. His name is Bo Wilhelm Olsson, but nobody calls him that. They simply call him Bosse. He also has a friend named Bengt, or simply Ben. They lived and often played on Uppland Street in Stockholm. Ben was happier than Bosse because he had a family, a father with whom he built planes and went for walks, and a mother who allowed him to invite friends home. And Bosse felt unhappy because he had neither a father nor a mother. he was taken from an orphanage by Aunt Edla and Uncle Sixten. They treated him severely and did not allow the boy anything, to speak loudly, not to laugh merrily, not to invite friends. And he was often bullied by the boys from Upland Street, and there was no one to protect him. So Busse often felt very lonely and sad. He wanted so much for Ben's dad to be his dad, but it was impossible in the real world. As I've already mentioned, Busse lived in Upland Street. I wondered why this street is particular. So I decided to look that up. Uppland is the name of historic province on the east coast of Sweden, north from Stockholm. What is it famous for? It turns out that Swedish kings liked to live here. Soon we will find out that Busse is a prince, son of the king, even if it's a fairy tale king. Uppland also has the largest number of Viking rune stones preserved since ancient times. Runes are inscriptions or writings that were left by Vikings in ancient times about their travels, events of their lives, relatives, etc. So a lot of Vikings also lived in Uppland. Busse, who at first glance is weak, sad, and hurt, is actually a descendant of Vikings and the son of a king. He, a small and lonely boy, has a great inner strength. Only at first he did not know what power was hidden in him. Astrid Lindgren believed that every child, every person has a great gift. First of all, the gift of fantasy and dreams. And if you strive for something very much, the dream will become a reality. Busse dreamed a lot about having a father like Ben's and warm and cozy home like Ben's. And Busse's dream came true. He went on the wings of his imagination to the faraway land, where the one who had been looking for him for a long time was waiting for him. From Upland Street, where nobody loved him, the boy set out on a fairy tale journey. Neither Aunt Edla nor Uncle Sixten saw him again in the ordinary world. But in the fantasy world, Busse will travel, discover new lands, perform feats, and tell us about it on his own behalf in the story. And now I will show you Tegner Park in Stockholm. Here it is Tegner Lunden. This is a real park where Astrid Lindgren liked to walk. It has existed since 1890. This is where Busse's adventures began. By the way, a sculpture in honor of the writer was installed in this park. We see how her kind heart warms an orphan boy. And there is a bird on the artist's shoulder. We will talk about the bird and the bewitched birds further down the road. So what happened to Busse in this park? Mrs. Lunden, the fruit shop seller, gave him a beautiful apple and asked him to put a postcard in the box. And on the card, there were words: "To the king, faraway land. The one you have long searched for is on his way. He travels by day and by night, and he carries in his hand the sign, a beautiful golden apple. Busse looked at his apple, and it was golden. And then another miracle happened. From an ordinary empty bottle in the park, a spirit appeared similar to a djinn from 1001 Nights. He saw a secret sign in the boy's hand, a golden apple, and he said, "You are the one that I've come to bring back. You're the one that king has been searching for so long." They flew to faraway land on a green island. There was a white castle on the island, and Father the King was walking along the shore toward the boy. "Mio, my son, how much you've grown again," he says when we measure. "Mio, my son," he says, and it sounds so warm and comforting. It turns out that my real name is not Busse at all. "I searched 9 long years for you," says my father the king. "I used to lie awake at night saying to myself, 'Mio, my son,' so I know your name well. That shows you calling me Busse was a mistake, like everything else when I lived on North Street. Now it's all been set right. I love my father the king, and he loves me." So what feelings can we hear in these words of Mio's father the king? I think you understand. It's a feeling of boundless love for his son. The boy's dream came true. The father's dream also came true. This could be the end of the fairy tale, but the main and most interesting events are still ahead. Busse got a rose garden with thousands of flowers and silver poplars. He also got a friend with an unusual name, Yum Yum. Yum Yum looked like Ben with the same eyes. He became a true and loyal friend to Mio. Mio and Yum Yum built a hut in the rose garden, listened to the birds singing, and laughed merrily. And this laughter pleased Father the King so much because he knew that his son was happy. His father the King knew what Mio loved most. He loved horses, and the king gave him the best horse in the world, a white horse with a golden mane, and they named him Miramis. Mio and Yum Yum often sat on a horse and traveled to different parts of the faraway land. It was a great kingdom. Greenfield's island, where the king's palace stood, was only a small part of the kingdom. In the faraway land, they sang and played one ancient melody. Mio and Yum Yum heard it from the shepherd Nonno, who made them flutes and taught them to play this wonderful melody. You should hear a melody played in faraway land from a movie, Mio in the Land of Faraway, created in 1987 by a team from Sweden, Norway, and other countries. Music was created by Benny Andersson and Anders Elias. The script for Mio in the Land of Faraway was written by William Eldridge. Apart from Shepherd Nonno's melody, there is also a song called Mio My Mio in the film. Astrid Lindgren wrote its lyrics herself. This song was performed by Karin Glenmark, a member of the Swedish band Gemini. This band existed in 1984-1987. The song Mio My Mio became very popular. I have the text of this song. Through the garden of roses, with the silver poplars, I walk with my father, holding his hand hard. And from the highest tree, I hear a lonely bird sing about the cruel country outside. And my heart trembles when my father's voice is heard. Mio, my Mio. Over the garden of roses, dusk is coming, and I see my bird throwing itself towards the sky with its broad wings. It flies straight towards the heavens, flies towards the black country outside. And my heart trembles when my father's voice is heard. Mio, my Mio, Mio, my Mio. After a while, the friends found out that apart from faraway land, there is also the cruel world outside. If you wanted to go from faraway land to the land on the other side of the water, you had to go over a bridge of morning light. But at night, the king draws the bridge up so that everyone can sleep calmly on Greenfield's Island. Why? I asked. Who would come at night? Sir Cato, said Yum Yum. The moment he said it, I felt an icy wind, and Miramis began trembling. It was the first time that I'd heard Sir Cato's name, Sir Cato. I said to myself, and the sound of it made me shiver. Yes, the cruel Sir Cato, said Yum Yum. Who is Sir Cato, whose name makes nature go still? Beyond the faraway land, there was an outer land. Sir Cato ruled there. He had a heart of stone and an iron claw. He took children and turned them into bewitched birds. That's why many said bewitched birds lived in outer land. With his iron claw, he took a living person's heart out and put a cold stone in its place. That's why so many people with stone hearts lived in outer land. Everything Cato taught became black and dead. That's why there is a dead forest, a dead lake, a black castle in his outer land. I think when you read this piece, you will find analogies with our troubled times that we are all going through right now. Today we seem to be in outer land. Sir Cato is turning our wonderful towns and villages into black wastelands, our green forests into dead forests. And those who stay there either have hearts of stone or turn into enchanted creatures. Eternal night and eternal darkness reigned in the outer land, and everyone was watched by Cato's servants, spies. Mio and Yum Yum learned about all this from the shepherd Nonno. His two brothers were taken away by Cato, and Toti told the boys about it because his sister was also taken by Cato. And from the weaver who wove the magic claw, Cato took away her daughter Milimani, who turned into a bird. So Sir Cato made many people and many children unhappy. His land, outer land, has turned into a land of evil and darkness. But evil and darkness cannot exist forever. Astrid Lindgren knew that for sure, and she gave us all hope for salvation. How can one overcome Sir Cato? Only the king's son, Mio, could free the world from Cato. He was destined to do so. At first, he did not know it, and he did not even guess that he came to this world for this purpose. But his father, the king, knew about this. He knew that his son was destined to become a hero. Father, the king, sees his son off on a long journey, knowing that he will have to meet Cato. As we rode out of the garden of roses, I heard my father, the king, shout, "Mio, my son," he cried, and it was the saddest voice I'd ever heard. But I could not turn back. I couldn't. What did you hear in the voice of Father King? I think the biggest thing is the realization that Mio must go to fight Cato to free the world from evil. The fairy tale Father the King knows that someone has to take this responsibility for the world. He does not hide his son from the fight. He does not shield him. On the contrary, he knows that he must go to protect, fight, save the people. Just as the Ukrainian people are doing now, defending our country. Do you think Mio was afraid on Sir Cato? Yes, at first he was. He goes with his friend Yum Yum to meet the unknown, but there is still a little bit of fear. This is normal human fear before evil and darkness. What's that terrible land over there? I said to Yum Yum. Outer land starts there, said Yum Yum. It's the border country of outer land. Sir Cato's land? I asked. Yes, there was only one danger, Sir Cato. He was the one I was scared of. So scared, so scared. But I tried not to think about him anymore. Still, Mio was able to overcome his fear. When did this happen? It happened when he met a weaver weaving the cloth of dreams and heard the sorrow bird sing. I stood there in the middle of the floor in the cottage and listened through the open window as sorrow bird sang outside. He sang about all the stolen ones, of the weaver's little daughter, of Nonna's brothers and Tote's sister, and many, many others whom the cruel Sir Cato had captured and taken to his castle. Sir Cato. It was so scared of him, so scared, so scared. But as I stood there in the cottage, listening to sorrow bird, something strange occurred to me. Suddenly, I knew why I had ridden through the forest of moonbeams tonight. Beyond the forest, the border country to outer land began. It was there that I actually must go. I must go there to fight Sir Cato. Though I was so scared, so scared. Yes, I wanted to cry when I realized what I must go. This is how courage began to be born in the heart of little Mio, when compassion for others and the desire to free them become greater than fear. Yum Yum did not leave his friend, and they set out on a dangerous journey together. The path narrowed, the dark mountains rose higher, the darkness thickened. I knew that I must go into the darkness, and yet I was not scared anymore. Now that I knew it had been foretold for thousands and thousands of years that I was to pass through this dark doorway, I felt braver. I knew that no matter what happened, I was going. Maybe I would never return, but I made up my mind not to be scared. To fight, our heroes need weapons. Without weapons, no fight can be won. And in Astrid Lindgren's fairy tale, there is such a weapon for Mio. The old man, Enno, whom the boys fed with bread, showed them the way to the swordsmith, who was to give Mio a magic sword that cuts through stone, because Kato has a heart of stone. Enno said another important thing. Everywhere in the outer land, there are spies. Spies are Kato's servants who look for enemies for Kato to destroy. They spy and they search all day and all night. That's why you cannot trust anybody there. But at the same time, like Enno said, there are still a few people in this land who are not traitors. And there are still some who forge weapons. Enno sent the boys to the swordsmith to get a sword, but the way was not easy. The spies got on the trail of the boys, and they stole the most precious thing Mio had, his horse Miramis, and fear returned to the boy again. I wanted to shout at them to leave my horse alone, but I did not. Who would fight Sir Kato if I was captured by the spies? Or why must I be the one who would fight Sir Kato? I regretted it terribly as I hid behind the rocks. Why had not I stayed at home with my father the king, where no one could take my horse from me? I heard the bewitched birds wailing out over the lake, but I did not care about them. I did not care about them at all. They could continue being bewitched if only I got back my Miramis with the golden mane. What feelings does the boy experience in that episode? It's fear and uncertainty and the desire to return something dear to him. When he was lying behind a rock, he heard his father, the king's voice. Mio, my son, he said, nothing more. But I understood that he wanted me to be brave and not lie there crying and screaming like a child, even though they took my Miramis away from me. Yes, you understood that the father king wanted to provide moral support to his son so that he could be courageous and fulfill his duty. And Mio has changed. I was a knight. I was no longer the Mio that built huts in the garden of roses and wandered over the hills on Greenfield's island playing the flute. I was a knight, a good knight, not one like Sir Kato. And a knight must be brave and not cry. So we see how the hero changes. At first, he was a lonely boy who was insulted by everyone and could not resist the circumstances. And then he became a happy and cheerful prince, the son of his father, the king. Now he is a good knight who does not turn from his path. But he still has to go to the end to defeat Sir Kato and become a hero who will free the whole world. On this heroic path, Mio will have many more dangers. The boys will be chased by spies, but the old tree will protect them. When the spies caught up with them again, the rock parted and they found themselves inside the mountain. Here was a new test. Mio and Yum got lost in a dark cave, and fear returned to Mio. But he heard his father, the king's voice again. Mio, my son, he said, no more. But it sounded as if he meant there was nothing to be said about. Mio did not disappear. The magic flute melody helped the boys find each other. We walked and walked, and we did not feel so small and lost anymore, because we were together and we played on our flutes. The old melody sounded clear and pretty in the blackest mountain, and it was as if it wanted to comfort us and help us to be brave. Nature itself helps Mio and Yum on their way to victory: forest, lake, mountains, and also the bewitched birds. One bewitched bird sacrificed herself and extinguished the torch with her wings so that the scouts would not see the boys. It was the daughter of a weaver, Milimani. Poor Milimani burned in the fire, saving the heroes at the cost of her life. The swordsmith gave Mio a magic sword which could cut stone. And it was with this award that Mio to kill Kato with. But the boys ended up in Kato's dark prison. Kato threw Mio's sword into the lake. The bewitched bird took the sword from the lake and brought into Mio. And Mio's cloak was also magical. It made him invisible. Mio does what he has to. In an invisible cloak, he sneaks into Kato's castle. And he has changed again. He is not just a knight or a good knight. He is a knight preparing for battle. I was no longer scared. I have never been less frightened. I was not the Mio who built huts in the Garden of Roses and lived on Greenfield's Island. I was a knight preparing for battle, and I ran on toward Sir Kato's room. Mio fought with Kato, and after that, only a pile of stones and an iron claw remained. Courage and goodness defeated the universal evil, and the world began to change. The bewitched birds turned into children again. Anna and the swordsmith became free, as well as other people who, pale and exhausted, sailed their boats on the lake. And even in the dead forest, green leaves began to appear. Even Milimani, according to the laws of fairy tales, resurrected and was able to return to her mother. Other children also returned to their parents. They flew on white horses in the moonlight, and Miramis flew ahead. And the bridge of moonlight shone with golden rays. And Mio's father, the king, met his son in a rose garden with silver poplars. He hugged his son and whispered joyfully, "Mio, my son," and the ancient melody of that land sounded everywhere. This is peace as seen in faraway land. I believe that my students and I will see a peaceful life in Ukraine. There will be a time when Ukraine will be a peaceful and free country, and no Katos will threaten it, because we all, like Mio and his friends, strive for peace and goodness. And goodness, according to the laws of fairy tales, will always win. Thank you for your attention. And I suggest you discuss my lecture and express your thoughts about the fairy tale Me or My Son by Astrid Lindgren, also on the current situation, on how to overcome fear during our global world during the war. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Olga. I think this is greatest lecture about fantasy I've ever heard, and and how surprising the just a fantasy could become so realistic and strong. Yeah, it is sad, but it's a very strange and surprising thing. Okay, so I hope many students have questions or opinions as to Professor Nikolenko's lecture and Lindgren's fantasy. Please don't hesitate. Yeah, please, Alexei.
Konnichiwa. Good morning or good afternoon. Thanks to Professor Olga Mykolaievna for a very interesting report. I completely agree that this fairy tale is about friendship, kindness, cooperation, courage, and achieving noble goals. Also, Astrid Lindgren, in my mind, drew attention to the problem of children's destinies. I love the story when I was a little kid, and I would never have thought that this fairy tale would be associated with current problems. But such is life, and this isn't surprising, because one of the functions of arts is to convey the realities.
Okay, thank you, Alexei. That's all. Yeah. Okay. So, Masaki, please.
Thank you, Professor. I find the young children need peace of mind, and sometimes what they want to depend on, and the adults help. And I found his father and short-lived as he faced a harsh fate when he was confronted by the night cattle. Also, beautiful fairy tale become a compass for children. So wherever you are, we can learn how to pursue our future, and being brave is also important. And I learned from this story, and also they has no choice but to play in the world of fantasy. And just I want to say overall, the king has a best friend named Yam, who fights against the 9 cattle. And I think there is a lot of reality compared to another story in Japan. So I feel it's a kind of real, and it's a good base for children to study how to pursue their future, even though there is a crucial situation like in your country. So I strongly recommend read this story again. Thank you.
Thank you, Masaki.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you so much.
So, Olena-san, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Olga Mykolaievna, many thanks for the presentation, and especially for outlining the parallel between the reality and the fairy tale. And I would agree with Alexei, who mentioned that he would never thought how, and also with Nonaka sensei, that they would never thought how actually reality is reflected in fairy tales. And to me, I especially like the moment when finding his true motherland. Mio is not afraid to protect it, and he fights for his future in the country, in the land where he belongs to. I believe this is something that inspires me currently. And as Morita-san also mentioned, it's important to actually not to be afraid to fight for whatever we find valuable, truly valuable to us. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. That's my first time to hear this story, but I feel so impressed by Mio's action or the story. I think we all have cattle in our minds. The fear repeated again and again in our minds. So we had to deal with it. Maybe we'll sympathy. We have sympathy with Mio. So being brave and think straight and keep going is kind of good ways to deal fear, I think. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much for your thoughts.
Okay, so any other questions or comments or anybody? Lena-san, you'd like to? Okay.
Yes, maybe maybe a silly question, but still, Olga Mykolaievna, I would like to ask you that there are many fairy tales that also depict and show this fight between good and bad, between good and evil. So why did you choose this story by Astrid Lindgren? Did you think of it when the war started, or did you present it to children at school, or did you include it into your new book for the school children?
Thank you, Lena. Thank you for your question. Yes, I agree with you that there are many fairy tales and there are books about brave and about strong opinion to world, but I choose this fairy tale because I think it is very actual for in our destroyed world. We live in instability world, and this fairy tale help us to return to sustainable life, and they help us to be strong and to be kindness. Thank you.
Many thanks.
So perhaps Lydia Vasilyevna has some comments. Lydia Vasilyevna, are you there?
Лидия Васильевна, вы тут?
Okay,
Лидия Васильевна. Please.
Я є, але в мене дуже проблеми з інтернетом, я тому переключаюся з мобільного на дротовий, з дротового на Wi-Fi, тому я можу тільки слухати. І то
Можете
мене періодично
сказати, ми вас чуємо. Ми чуємо, Лідія Васильівна.
Так, добре, дякую. Дякую, Ольга Миколаївна, дякую, шановні колеги, дякую, шановні пане професоре, за розпочату серію нашого міжнародного студентського семінару.
So, despite the problems with the connection, I would still like to say a few words. I would like to thank Professor Nikolenko, and I would like to thank Nonaka-san for starting this series of international scientific student seminars and for beginning these discussions. Лідія Васильівна, чи ви нас чуєте?
Maybe we have no connection with Lydia Vasilyevna.
Yeah, I'm afraid she has no connection now. Okay, so Vladislav, would you like to talk?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'd like to express my word of appreciation to the professors and all the participants for joining this lecture and your presentations, because they were very valuable for me and they opened new points of view on this problem and on this question, and they definitely enriched my understanding of this topic and my perception. So thank you very much for these lectures, and thank you all the participants for joining.
Thank you, Vlad.
Olga, I have I also have one question, okay, short one, and which difference, what the difference between original text and literature text and film? I've never seen a film. For example, the last paragraph of the literature text made a strong impression to me. I think that last paragraph invites us to a kind of double context, double reading, but maybe in the film that effect doesn't exist, right?
Thank you so much, Professor Susumu Nonaka-san. I think that the literary text has more meanings and more senses. I think the literary text is broader than the film. The film is for children, but the book is for children and for adults. And we have many problems and questions which were raised in the literary text.
Okay, thank you. But anyway, I like many illustrations. I like especially Savchenko's illustration. I think it's very good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So I think we have made a good start, the first session, and let me tell you, next session will be the 20th of December. We are looking forward to your good presentations, students' presentations. We won't see you 3 weeks, but please take care of yourselves, and let's see each other on the 20th of December. Thank you very much. Have a good day or good evening. Sayonara, do побачення.
Thank you, Susumu Nonaka-san. Thank you, Lydia Vasilyevna. Thank you, all students. Thank you for organizing our connection, and we are happy to see you again. Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. See you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.